Once we are done with tabs, the second type of activity that you can create, or the second type of application that you can create, is a service. A service is a task that runs in the background. They are launched by the activity and run indefinitely even the activity is destroyed. For example, if you have the sound service, that is the service which plays the sound in your Android phone, even if you quit out of the application, then too the sound is running in the background. That is because the sound is running inside a service. That service is being called indefinitely even if your application is destroyed. A service has three methods. One is onCreate. OnCreate method is called when a service is created. Second is onStart. It is called when a service is started. And third is onDestroy, which is called when a service is stopped. So let me tell you the difference between the onCreate and the onStart method. Whenever you just create the service, at that time the onCreate method is called. Inside the onCreate method, you have to do all the initializations that you can do for the service, that is setting up the resources, setting up all the drawables, etc. Inside the onStart method, you have to perform the task which should be done whenever the service is started. Inside the onDestroy method, you should clean up all the variables, all the connections that your service has established. Services are launched with the help of intents. The syntax to launch a service is same as that of for an activity, but in case of a service, you have to call the start service method, whereas for the activity you used to call start activity method. Let's create a demo service. Let's create a sound service which runs indefinitely in the background. The service must be launched when we click on the start button and must be stopped when we click on the stop button. We would be using the media player class to play music in our case. And the media player class is a full featured class for playing any type of media. I mean, if you want to play a video, you want to play audio, you want to pause it, you want to stop it, you want to forward it, rewind it, increase the volume, decrease the volume, whatever you want to do, you can do it with the help of the media player class. Let's create the sound service. To create a service, we must follow the given steps. We must create a new class and extend it from the service class. In normal cases, we extend the new class with the activity class because we want to create a new activity. But when we want to create a new service, we must extend our class with the help of the service class. We must do all the initializations inside the onCreate method. We must perform the task inside the onStart method and perform all the cleanup operations inside the onDestroy method. Okay. And in the main activities Java file, we must perform the start and stop of the service. And that's very important. You should add the service to the Android manifest.xml file. Let's create a new project with the name services demo and create a new class with the name sound service, which should be extended from the service class. Okay, so we have public class sound service extend service. We'll create a media player inside this because we want to play some media. The onBind method is not required in our case because it is used to bind the objects. In our case, we will keep it blank. Then we have the onCreate method. OnCreate method is called whenever the service is created. So over here, we'll be just getting the content or the media that we want to play. So how do we get the media? By saying MP, that is the object of the media player class, equals to media player.create. This creates an instance of the media player class. Inside this, we get the get application context, comma, the music file that I want to play. In my case, the music file is r.raw.ikonkar. So we have to copy the ikonkar file or any file that you want to play inside the res/raw folder. The raw folder is a folder where you can place all the raw files, that is the raw audio files, the raw video files. These should be placed inside the raw folder, and to access the raw folder you must say r.raw.the file name, and you don't have to mention the extension. Android will take the extension by itself automatically, so you just have to say r dot raw dot the file name. In my case, the file name is ik_onkar. Then we have to keep the service running forever. So we will say mp dot set looping true. This will set the looping in the service to be true. If we don't set the looping to be true, the media player will just play the file once and stop. Okay, so we will not get the feel that the service is running for an infinite time. In case of on destroy, we will just say mp.stop. It will stop the media player and the service. When someone clicks on start, that is whenever the service is started, then we will just say mp.start. This will start the media player inside our application and the sound will be started. Okay, so if you can get the concept, inside the onCreate method we did all the initializations. Inside the onStart method we started the media player. Inside the onDestroy method we stopped the media player. Let's create the activities layout. We'll create a layout which contains the two controls. One is start service and stop service. Whenever someone clicks on start service, the service will be started. Whenever someone clicks on stop service, the service will be stopped. Okay, let's launch the service from our main activity. Inside the main activity is onCreate. Now you have to understand the fact that the previous onCreate was for the service, but this onCreate is for the activity. Inside the onCreate, we are launching the service whenever someone clicks on the start button. So we'll take the references of the controls, start and stop. Inside the start button, we'll create a service by saying intent service equals to new intent. This is the object name. This can be anything. I am keeping the object name as service, so I am saying intent service equals to new intent. I'll get the application context, comma, sound service, which is the service class, dot class. This indicates that I want to launch this service from our main application. Then we will say start service and pass the service argument. So the start service method is used to start a service. Which service? The service which is called in the intent. So far so good. Whenever someone clicks on the stop, we'll create the intent and we'll stop the service. The stop service method will search if any of the service of the sound service class is running. If the sound service class is running, then it will stop the service directly. And we have to add the service to the manifest file. To do that, we have to use the service tag. Now this might be falling in picture because whenever we had to add a new activity, we used to have the activity tag. Whenever we want to add a new service, we have the service tag. So we have service Android name equals to dot sound service. This is the name of the class where the service is hosted, and we can enable or disable a service. In our case, we want to keep it enabled, so we'll say Android enabled equals to true. This indicates that the service must be enabled, and whenever we want to launch it, the service must get launched. And if we can see the services, when we click on the settings and go to applications, inside the applications, if we click on running services, then we will be able to check out that a service is actually running. That is, the services demo application is running, and the services demo application has one activity and one service. Okay, the one service thing indicates that we are actually creating a service, and that service has been launched in the background. Let's do it in actual practice and see how do we get the output of it. Let's do it for the services demo. For that, we'll go to file and say new Android application project. Project name as services demo. Package name as com.fitech.services_demo. You can also give sound services demo, so it will be a much better name. That's fine. Then you can give the build SDK as Android 2.3.1. Uncheck on this in next, and give the title as sound service demo. The application will be created. First of all, we have to add the sound. So we'll right click on the RES folder and say new folder and make the folder name as raw inside the RES folder for sure. That's fine. Then we will copy a sound from our C drive sounds folder inside the raw folder and paste it over here. Then we'll go to the source folder and right click on the package name and say new class. Give the class name as service demo. Every class which will be a service must have the base class as the service class. So we'll say extends service. It will have a onBind method. So I'll just implement or add that method. Then we have to create a media player object. So we'll say media player MP. The service will have three methods. One will be onCreate. Inside the onCreate method, we have to perform all initializations. For that, what we'll be doing is we'll be saying MP equals to media player dot create. The first argument is the context, so we'll say get application context. The second argument is the resource ID, so that resource ID will come from r dot raw dot nirankar sound. So we'll get the sound reference as well over here. Then we'll say mp dot set looping to be true. This will make sure that the sound is looping through till the service has been running. Then we'll say on start. The on start method will be launched when we will start the service. So we will say mp dot start, and when we will say on destroy, at that time we will say mp dot stop. Okay, so that was for our service class. We have to add the reference of the services demo class inside the manifest. So we'll go to the manifest file, and in the manifest XML, below the activity, we will say service, and we'll say Android colon name equals to dot service demo. That's it for it. And we have to also say enabled as true. So we'll say Android enabled equals to true. This will indicate that the service is enabled. Once we are done with this, then we can go to our services demo Java class and check out that we have created the media player. Inside the onCreate, we have performed the initialization. Inside the onStart, we have started the media player. Inside the onDestroy, we have stopped the media player. Let's go to the layout now and add two buttons, one to start and one to stop. Let's right click on the layout and to change layout to linear layout. Delete the hello world, then add two buttons. Let's change the width of the first button to match parent, ID of the first button to btn start service, ID of second button to btn stop service. Let's change text on the first button to say start service, and text over here to say stop service. I hope that's fine with us. Then we'll go to the main activity.java. We'll remove the onCreate options menu, which came by default. Then we'll perform step 1 to get the references. So we'll say final button btn start equals to button find view by id r.id.btn start service. We'll say final button btn stop equals to button find view by id r.id.btn stop service. We'll say btn start dot set on click listener, new on click listener. We'll just import the on click listener from here. Then we'll create the intent for a service. So we'll say intent int service equals to new intent. The package name should be main activity.this, and the class that we want to launch is service demo.class. Then we'll say start service and we'll say int service. That's fine. The similar code will be for stop service, so just copy this thing down and paste it. Then we'll have btn stop dot set on click listener. The intent is fine. In place of start service, we have to simply call that stop service and give the name of the intent as int service. Once we are done with this, we'll be running this thing on the actual device. So as to show you the output on the actual device, right click on this and say run as Android application. I have my device connected. That is the Sony Xperia Solar. Just open this on the device. As you can see, we now have the device. When I click on the start service button, then you can see that a sound service has been launched. To check the sound service, we'll open the settings. In the settings, we'll go to applications. In the applications, we'll have running. As you can see, there is a sound service demo over here. This is running right now. You can simply click on stop. The service will stop by default. We'll also go to the sound service again and we'll say start service once more. The service gets started and we'll click on stop. Service gets stopped.